Okay.
The 27th of April, Rabbi Levitt. Uh, um,
So what do we? Yeah, I saw Mayor came in just recently.
yeah, Meir's here, but he's muted.
Okay, so what should we do?
I think we should stick with what we've been doing. Do the one more day of Pirkei Avos for 10 minutes, and then Gemora like we've been doing.
Okay.
I think we were up to number two and number what's today? Today's the 14th.
14th day of the Omer. Yes.
Yeah, so we should do number two and number 14.
Okay. Let's see. Hmm.
Number two, I'm trying to find it. So number one is really long.
Elohein, the Talmud. The first one is Talmud. The second one is the Shmias Ha'ozen. Interesting. Literally, that means the listening of the ear.
Right. Attentive listening. B'shmi'as ha'ozen. Yes. Yeah. So should I read?
Yeah. You have something about Shmias Ha'ozen, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
The presence of a teacher is not enough. His thoughts will not reach your mind by osmosis, nor should you go to a study group to break in pell-mell at every turn, to give your voice and thoughts the benefit of airing. Your ear, as the Hebrew literally indicates, must listen and hear. And as the Hebrew verb also connotes, you must heed and understand. It is not enough to merely hear words. You must grasp their meaning. And you must listen with your heart too, for the shades and nuances that lie in the words of Torah, though they are not explicitly expressed. As others can read between the lines, learn to hear between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Again, words mean different things. However, they are interpreted. If you would understand any written passage correctly, you should know the general intention of the writer and the spirit which moved him. For this reason, as long as it could, Judaism relied on the oral tradition whose masters lived in its spirit. Our way of faith did not trust in a written text alone. To defeat hostile Edom, King David sent his able general Joab, and by 6 months every male in Edom was slain. Says the Talmud, when Joab returned to his sovereign, David demanded why he had spared the womenfolk. They posed a great potential danger to Israel. He replied, it is written in the Torah, you should blot out Zachar, the males of Amalek. And if no more was demanded there, surely it was enough in Edom. Said David, but we read Zecher, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek. Because Joab's childhood teacher was careless or slipshod, the fate of a people could be placed in jeopardy. Perhaps in his infinite foresight, the Almighty already intimated the need to guard against such error. After Amalek's very first attack on the Hebrews, he bade Moshe write this for a memorial in the book and put it in the ears of Yoshua, that I will blot out Zecher, the remembrance of Amalek. If you only write something down for others to read, you may still be misunderstood. Tell, explain, teach the one who will take your place in the next generation. So must a pupil go to a teacher to study, and he must listen with open ears and open heart. If he is to be a link in our unbroken historic chain of responsible Torah scholars. That's the end of my commentary.
Where's this commentary from?
It's from this book by
Oh, yeah.
Bunim.
Yeah, Rabbi Bunim. Yeah. Aleva Shalom.
Amen. All right, so shall we jump to 14?
Yeah.
Today's Mida?
14.
What text are we using again?
I'm using this book here. It's called Ethics from Sinai.
Oh,
Bunim. He wasn't a rabbi. He was a lay person, but he was very, very scholarly.
okay. So what chapter then is it in?
6:6.
Oh, 6:6. Okay, 1 second. Let me see. This is it. Chapter 6:6. It's chapter 5.
One. Oh.
6:6. Okay. Found it.
So Talmud is 1. Shmiras Ha'ozen is 2. Let's see.
I have 14 is by knowledge of scripture and Mishnah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14.
The Mikra uv Mishnah.
The Mikra B'Mishnah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so my commentary says, you ready, Mayor?
Yeah. Thank you.
With a mind, we are capable of more than dream and emotion, wishes and intentions. We can amass knowledge, and this dimension of mind must be included in our way of faith. The Torah scholar must know, not merely wallow in piety. The emotions and attitudes of faith must be objectified, given concrete expression in study to gain that knowledge, then in action arising from that knowledge. So the scholar must learn to know Mikra, reading, the text of our written Torah, which is to be read, and Mishnah, study, review, our oral Torah, which originally was not written, but studied and reviewed from memory alone. In time, as we know, the basic texts of our oral Torah were recorded too, lest they be forgotten. The interwoven combination of written and oral Torah, the second to explain the first, forms the solid foundation of a scholar's life of faith. Hence, while we stress the knowledge of Torah in our programs of schooling, it is clearly not a mere study course to complete and then abandon for other things. Requiring constancy, Torah leads on to greater levels, for its depths are fathomless. At the age of 90, the Chafetz Chaim was found still immersed in Bereshis, the book of Genesis.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Memches Kinyomin. Right. Okay. Good. So that's our segment of 48 ways to acquire the Torah. In other words, each one of these subjects, each one of these ways, I'm reading from Rav Hirsch, Shamshon Raphael Hirsch. He says that they're not, he's going on what it says in the Mishnah before, that you have kahuna and you have malchus. There's and Torah is greater than kahuna or malchus, because because one way of understanding that is because kahuna and malchus is basically hereditary, so to speak. Father's a Cohen, the son is a Cohen. Father's the king, David HaMelech is the king, so is Shlomo Melech. But the Torah is not like this, and we see all of the in contrast. It doesn't say by the kahuna and the malucha that you need to have this and you need to have that and you need to have that in order to acquire kahuna and kingship. All of these 48 ways are Rav Hirsch says they are they're not gifts, but they are a means through which alone it is possible to acquire the Kesed Torah. So if one wishes, one may also logically say that all the moral and spiritual attributes named here are indeed acquired simultaneously with the Torah, because in fact it's possible to acquire the Torah only if one also possesses these virtues. Okay. So, and with that, we'll go back to focusing on the first means of acquiring Torah, and that is limud. And with that, we're going to go to Bava Metzia. So Mayor, you have to have a first krach of Bava Metzia. Perek Rishon Shnaim Ochsin.
16b2.
Okay, I'll be right back. 16:2, Bava Metzia.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. We are right in the middle of a complicated Gemora over here. Okay, so we even started from the beginning of this section of Amar Shmuel, and we saw that the issue that the Gemara is dealing with is whether or not, when it comes to a star that was found in the shuk, should we refrain from returning it to the Bailim, the Malva, the one that made the loan, based upon the concern that perhaps the loan was paid by the loiva already, and the star was given to him by the malva, but instead of tearing it up like he was supposed to do, he didn't do that immediately, and then he lost it, and then somebody found it in the street. So then it would not be good to give it back to the malva. The malva might be unscrupulous. He might try to collect with it a second time. So do we have that concern or not? That's the issue. That's the underlying issue that the Gemara is dealing with in bringing the sources, all the sources that it's bringing. So if we have that in mind when we're learning the Gemara, we can hopefully have more of a handle on what the Gemara is saying, and it'll be more interesting to us as well. Figure the Gemara is adducing proofs one way to say yes, to say no. Okay, so let's see. Like Lou said, 16 Tes Zayin Amid base, and let's see. Here, let's go from Amar Rav Avo, Amar Rav Yochanan. This could be found. This is towards the end of the page, actually. The 2 dots, about 12 lines from the bottom of the page.
It should be 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we made ground already.
Yeah, left-hand column, the last paragraph.
Okay. Okay. Who would like to start off the reading?
I will.
Okay.
Amar Rabbi Abahu, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Abahu said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Hamotze star clove was shook. He found a loan document in the street. Afal pi shekasuv bo henpek, even though there is written in it a certification, lo yachaziro laba'alim, do not return it to the creditor. Lo liboye, not necessary to teach that it shouldn't be returned. Hecha dulo kasuv bo henpech, where certification is not written in it. Deika lememar kasav velova velo lava. because it is possible that the debtor wrote the note intending to borrow, but in the end, he did not actually borrow. Ela afilu kasuv bo henpek, but even if is written in it a certification, umay nihu dimikuyam. What does this mean? That the note has been certified. Lo yachazir, he may not return it. The chashinan lefei ra'on, because we are concerned that he paid it.
Right.
The certification proves that the loan was made, but doesn't say anything about whether it was paid or not. Is that right?
Right. Right. So that's what Rav Bava is saying, that if you find a loan document, a shtar chov, in the shuk, so even though it has the henpek, the certification on it written that the judges acknowledged and gave their certification that this loan, what it says here written in this document, actually took place. So in other words, we know that the loan was actually made, and therefore we know that the loiva does owe the money. Even in that case, we say that we don't give it back to the malva. We don't give this document back to the malva. Now, why would we not give the document back to the malva? The only reason that we could have why we don't give it back to the malva is because even though we know that the loan was made, but we suspect that perhaps the loan was paid off by the loiva. But if it was paid off, then the malva should have given it back to him, and the loiva should have right away torn it up. But this loan document was not torn up. Isn't that a proof that he never paid it? So Rabbi Avo says, no, it's not a proof that he didn't. That maybe he paid it, and for whatever reason it wasn't torn up, and therefore we should not give it back to the malva, because we're concerned that if we do give it back, of course, he's not entitled to it, perhaps. Okay. Do we have any Rashi over here?
Let's see.
Don't see any. No. Okay. Fine. So we'll go to the next step. So that's what Rabbi Avo says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Now along comes a question. Esvei, Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbi Avo. Who would like to read the Esvei? There, you want to read?
I'm just trying to find lost again. I don't see Esvei.
On 16b3.
Oh, yeah. I see it. I'm sorry. Okay. Esvei Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbi Abahu Kol Ma'aseh Beidin. So Rabbi Yirmiyah refuted Rabbi Abahu from the Mishnah that if one finds that any document, I guess that was an action of the court, Hareze Yaksir. He should return it to the creditor that's named in it. Okay. This is a refutation of Rabbi Abahu's ruling. Okay, so we have a machloket, I guess. So it says, Amar Le, Rabbi Abahu told him, Yirmiyah Bari, so my son Yirmiyah, Lo kol ma'aseh beit din shavim. Not all the actions of the court are similar. Ella kigon shechuchzak kaparan. But let's see, refers to huzak. I guess a time, an instant when that the debtor was presumed a liar. Wow.
Uchsa kafran, yeah.
Yeah, kafran. Wow.
Yeah, we have a Rashi on this. Rashi's going to explain us what this case is talking about, I believe.
Let's see where the Rashi is.
Which Rashi?
So the first Rashi we got over here is the last narrow line of Rashi, Kol Masa Bezdin.
Oh, Kol Masa Bezdin. What? V'hai Nami Maseh Barav.
No, it's based in.
Hava?
No, that's based in. That's an abbreviation.
Oh, that's baked in. Oh,
yeah. And also a Maisa Beit Din, it is.
Oh, thank you. I can't tell the difference between a Reish and a Dolly. My glasses must be dirty.
Got to get one of those shmatas.
Yeah, really, or a magnifying glass.
Or a magnifying glass. Yeah, that's even better.
You're leaving the two not asterisks, apostrophes there. Beit Din he. Yirmiyahu Beret. Oh, that's the next one, I guess.
Oh, so what's Rashi saying over here? Kol Masa Bezdin. Hainami Masa Bezdin who? Okay, so in other words, Rashi, do we read Rashi over here yet? Kol Masa Bezdin?
Yeah, Yirmiyahu Beret Garcinan.
Oh, yeah, and before that, V'hai Nami Masa Bezdin who?
And this is also an act of Bestin.
Right. What is Rashi saying? Hi Nami. Hi. This is also an act of Bestin who. What's the this that Rashi's referring to?
Oh.
Hi means this one. Rashi's referring to the this that it says in this Mishnah. The Rabbi Yirmiyah is quoting a Mishnah. We had this Mishnah before, just a few lines up. It says Kol Masa Bezdin Hareze Yaksir. Any star which is a Masa Bezdin, we are going to return it. And we're going to return it to? We're going to turn it to the Malba. So the question is, what star is included in this expression of the Mishnah that it says Masa Bezdin? So Rashi says, Hi Nami, Masa Bezdin who? This one is also regarded as a star which is a Masa Bezdin. So what Rashi is referring to is the case that Rav Avo was speaking about. If you got a star chov that has a henpick written in it, that has a certification in it, certifying the fact that what it says there, that if there was a loan, that it actually was made. The loan was actually made. Because the way it works is the lova he's the one that's got he's the one that wants the loan, right? So he's got the responsibility to have the document drawn up, and then he accordingly gives it to the malva, and then the malva takes that document, which certifies that he loaned the money, and in exchange for getting that document from the loiva, he gives the he gives the lova the money, and probably if it has a henpick, he did it in the bezdin. So the bezdin certifies the fact the loan took place. So that's called a shtar chov, which has got a din of a masa bezdin. So Rashi is saying, "Hi nami." This one, meaning this one that Rabbi Avo is talking about, is also regarded as a masa bezdin. So the Mishnah would seem to be against Rabbi Avo, because the Mishnah says a shtar which has a status of a masa bezdin, yachzir, we give it back, meaning to the malva. And Rabbi Avo said not like that. He said, no, we don't give it back because we're chayshin in the piroyan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, now, so now Rabbi Yirmiyah, he's got some answering to do, and so he says, no, that's Mishnah is not difficult against me. What does he say? Lo kol masa bezdin shavim. Not every shtar, which is a status of a masa bezdin, is got the equal din. What it says in that Mishnah over there, that we give it back, that we give it back to the malva. We do that only in the case gon shehuksa kafran. If the loiva has got a chazaka of being a kafran. How does he get a chazaka of being a kafran? Says Rashi. Phil, you want to read the Rashi? Shehuksak.
Let's see. Shehuksrak. It says, let's see. Lo vezeh kafran pam acheret lefikach ein ne'eman lomar. They don't believe what he said?
Oh.
Lomar, let's see. Parati, the Hanan Yachzir.
Okay, so Rashi's saying over here, Shehukzak, that he has been given a presumption, we'll call it, of being a kafrin, someone who doesn't tell the truth, a denier. Says Rashi, loiva zeh kafrin pamacheres. Says Rashi, how did he get this title of being a kafrin? Because he was a kafrin on a different occasion.
Wow.
It was demonstrated. He was proven to be a kafrin in a different case. So at that point, he's got a stempel on his head of being a kafrin. I don't know what he's got to do in order to change that title that he's got, but in the meantime, that's what he is. He's got a din of being a kafrin. And says Rashi, Lafikach, therefore, ein nemon loimar paraiti. He's not going to have any credibility with the Bezdin to say paraiti, that I paid it up. Ubahahi tanan yaksir. And accordingly, answers Rav Yirmiyah that what the Mishnah is talking about when it says that there's a shtar chov, which is a masa bezdin, which you give it back to the bailim, meaning you give it back to the malva, it's talking about just this type of a case. Ubahahi tanan yaksir. And in this case, a case such as this, the Mishnah says you give it back to the Bailim, you give it back to the Malva. So it's a bit of a kvetch, if you ask me. That it doesn't say such a thing in the Mishnah, right? It seems like it's saying a blanket across the board din that you give it back if it's a Masa Bezdin. But Rav Yirmiyah he can't agree to that, because then he's been refuted. So he's got to make a what do we call it, a kimta. He's got to make a severe limitation in the application of this Mishnah. This Mishnah applies in regard at least to a loan document when we're talking about a loiva who has been demonstrated to be a kafrin. And like that, we'll give it back to the malva in this case. We're not concerned, we don't entertain so much the possibility that maybe it was paid off.
Mm-hmm.
And just not torn up for some reason. Okay.
Wow.
Omar. Phil checked out for the time being. Okay, Omar Rava. Phil, would you like to read the rest of the next Gemora? I mean, I'm sorry, not Phil, Lou.
Okay. Amar Bava.
Yeah.
Rishum Dechuchzak Kafran Chada Zimna. And do we say that because the debtor was once presumed a liar, to lo pare klo, that he will never pay? So in other words, we haven't put any limitation on time or any criteria for changing his presumption.
Yeah.
Not reasonable.
Let's take a look at Rashi. The Suloi Para Cloud.
Where is it?
Oh, yeah, Phil, you want to read Sulo Para Cloud?
Okay. The Sulo Paraclau. Because furthermore, he will never pay at all. And it's a beat me, it's surprising. The Icha is Shinin Laparent, because if we're concerned that he paid this, Shelo Nizhar, it will not be known Lishmor Shtaro, that he has to he wouldn't be known that he has to guard his star. Yafsidu, he would lose.
Yeah, what is Rashi saying over here exactly? Suloi Paraklau, says the Gemara. Bitmia, says Rashi. The Gemara is making the Rava is asking Bitmia on what Rav Yirmiyah answered. How could it be? Bitmia. This is a wonder what Rav Yirmiyah is answering back over here. Rav Yirmiyah is answering that, oh, yes, we'll give it right back to the Malva, even though, generally speaking, we're choshesh for piroyan. We're choshesh that perhaps the Lova paid back, and how come he didn't tear it up? We're choshesh. We're choshesh that he paid it up and he didn't tear it up, and that's why it was found in the street. That's the general rule according to Rabbi Avo. and along comes uh,
Rava.
oh, there's too many names over here of Yochanan. And then who asked on him was Rav Yirmiyah. Rav Yirmiyah was the one that asked on him. And then Rabbi Avo answered him back. Oh, so Rabbi Avo, he was the one that answered this challenge of Huchsa Kafrin. So Rava is expressing astonishment with the answer that Rabbi Yirmiyah gave. Is that correct? No, that's not correct. That Rabbi Avo gave. So why? Yeah.
There's an art scroll note on this that quotes a Tosfos.
Okay, let's just try
the art scroll note.
Yeah.
Number 31 at the bottom.
Yeah.
Says, although the Gemora will soon teach that where a man was found to have lied about a certain obligation, he is no longer trusted to say he paid that obligation. The fact that the document was found in the street raises the suspicion that it had already been repaid. Therefore, we should consider the possibility of repayment even regarding a presumed liar.
Okay, so in other words, what Rav Yirmiyah, is it Rav Yirmiyah? Yeah, what he answered was true. Somebody who's Huchsa Kafran, he's not believed anymore to say Paraiti. He's not believed to say that he paid. Fine, but we're not talking about believing this guy who says that he's paid. We're talking about a different case altogether, says Tosas. We found this star in the street. What's the din of finding a star in the street? What do you do with that star? If you're choshesh for piroyan, so you say you can't give it back to the malva. That's all. What's it got to do with whether you believe the loiva who's already lied once, and this time he says he paid it up? We're not talking about that case. I think that's what Tosas is pointing out. What's the tzushtel? What's the kesher between what Rav Yirmiyah is saying and to answer the challenge that okay, now Rashi, is Rashi saying something different than Tosas? Rashi said ichashin lepiroyin zeh shaloi nizar lishmor staroi yafsid. Right? Rashi, I think Rashi's expressing in different words the same way that the art scroll explained the Tosfos. Says Rashi, if we are going to in fact do what Rav Yavo said that we do, that we're chayshin lepiroyan, in a case of when we find a star chov in the shuk. So this person who was not careful with his star, meaning the loiva, he paid it, but he wasn't careful with the star. What's called being careful with the star? What's called careful with being the star, if you're a loiva, is to do what? Tear it up. That's what's called being careful with the star, because you already paid that star. You don't want that star to be anywhere except torn up or in the garbage. Right. And so that's what Rashi's saying, that we're expressing astonishment with the answer of Rev Avo. How can it be? If we're choshesh for piroyan, then this person who wasn't careful to tear it up, he's going to lose out. He's going to lose out on account of what Rev Avo said over here. Okay. Even though he's a kafran, even though he's demonstrated himself as being a liar in a different court case. Nevertheless, okay, let's see what Rava answers then. So Rava is going to change what it means in the Mishnah, I believe. Ella Amar Rava. Mayor.
Okay, Ella Amar Rava. So, but Rava said, okay, matnitin bishtar haltata v'adrachta. Okay, so that, I guess in the Mishnah, it refers to, let's see, the certification of a foreclosure. Oh, and a seizure warrant.
Right.
Wow.
Look at the Rebbe of Zera.
Super Zera. Okay, which goes by Rabbi Zera, right?
Yeah, so actually, we learned this before. We learned this very Gemora before because this very Mishnah was brought before, a few lines up in the Gemora.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know where? Practically smack dab in the middle of this page. The first word in the line is Tanina.
Oh, yeah.
And it says over there, look, we brought this Mishnah, Kol Masa Bezdin, Harei Ze Yaksir. Any star which has the status of a Masa Bezdin,
yep,
got it? We give it back. Alma, so we see we got a proof, Lo Chashin in the Piroyan. That was really basically what you need a scorecard to tell all the players over here. Who was it that brought this Mishnah originally now as a refutation of Rabbi Avo? Rabbi Yirmiyah, right? Esvei Rabbi Yirmiyah. He's the one that brought this Mishnah, and it's exactly what he intended to prove with this Mishnah. You see from this Mishnah that a shtar chov, which is a masa bezdin, meaning that it's got a henpeck, you give it back to the malva. So you see that you don't concern yourself with the possibility that maybe the loiva paid it up and he for some reason wasn't nizer with the shtar and he tore and he did not tear it up. No, you give it back to the malva. So that, but we explained before that what did we do? Reb Zera said that no, that Mishnah is not talking about an ordinary loan document. That Mishnah is talking about shtari chaltosa and adrafta, which are foreclosure and seizure warrants. And we said at that time, at that point in the Gemara, we said hani lav b'nei piroyan ninu. These documents are given back to the owner of the document because there's no issue of piroyan over there. So we don't be choshesh for piroyan because it's not an issue of piroyan altogether. That's the way we explained it at that point in the Gemara. But now, so that's what Rav is saying. So now, accordingly, so how is this going to resolve the matter? If we're going to say like this, so then this Mishnah over here is not talking about a shtar chov, period. So if it's not talking about a shtar chov, so then there's no refutation of Rebbe Avo, who says that a shtar chov that we find, we give it back to the malva. Because this Mishnah is talking about a shtar which is a mazah bezna we do give back. It's not talking about a shtar chov. It's talking about these seizure and foreclosure documents. Because we're going according to the the understanding of Reb Yirmiyah. Another name, Reb Zera. Okay, could have Rebbe Zera. Okay, so therefore, what have we done? We're keeping score over here, right? So that at this point, the score is that Rebbe Yavo is still alive and kicking. He said, "Motzi shtar chov b'shuk afal pi shekasuv bo henpik lo yakziroi lebailin." We don't give it back to the bailin if we find this shtar, even though it's got a certification that the loan was actually made. Why? Because we're choshesh for piroyan. That's what he says. Okay.
I'm confused specifically that it's a shtar chov.
That's what Rabbi Yirmiyah is talking about. He says shtar chov. He says hamotzi shtar chov b'shuk.
Right. So how can we say now it's not a shtar chov? That's the whole presumption.
No. What we're saying that the Mishnah, right? The Mishnah that was talking about kol masa bezdin harei yachzir. That statement was a statement of the Mishnah. It's actually a Mishnah further on in Daf Chaf.
Right.
And so that Mishnah, that was what Rabbi Yirmiyah brought as a refutation, an esvei against Rabbi Abo. He said, "How can you say that you don't return a shtar chov? You see from this Mishnah that you do return a shtar chov." And Rashi said that Mishnah, according to Rabbi Yirmiyah, he understands that it says kol masa bezdin was also referring to a shtar chov. And on that, we asked, we're now concluding, according to Rava, that Rava says, no, let's learn that Mishnah is not talking about a shtar chov. It doesn't say explicitly that it's talking about a shtar chov. It just says kol masa bezdin. So what's kol masa bezdin referring to? Let's go with what what Rev Zera said about it. Rev Zera said that Mishnah that says kol masa bezdin is not talking about a shtar chov. It's talking about the shtari chaltasa and adrakta, the foreclosure and the seizure documents, which we said before, they're not loan documents, and so therefore that Mishnah is totally irrelevant. So it's that it says that Mishnah says that we give it back to the Malva, that doesn't present a difficulty to Reb Avo, because Reb Avo says, I'll explain that Mishnah is going according to Reb Zera. And Reb Zera says it's talking only about these seizure and foreclosure documents. It's not talking about a shtar chov. But Reb Avo, he said explicitly that we're talking about a shtar chov. A shtar chov, we do not give back.
Mm-hmm. I have to leave now, so everyone have a good day and a good week.
Amen.
12 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, our time is up anyway.
Oh, okay.
It is 12.
I wasn't sure. Okay.
Good timing.
Okay, so 11:45 tomorrow. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Be well.
Okay, a good Erev Rosh Chodesh.
Yes.
Rosh Chodesh.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
All the best, everybody. Shkoyach. Bye, Phil. Bye, Lou. Bye.